Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away.
So, go crazy. Pick out whatever you want. And then we'll get started. I'll show you how to cut it all out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Did you need me?
Cut two at a time, because this is.
Sure.
I mean, fold it. I would have to fold it to get both sides. Is that what you guys do?
Yeah, fold it in the middle.
Fold it in the
Usually
middle,
fold
yeah.
it and, okay.
Right.
For your seam allowance, and a half an inch on this side. So 16 plus a half an inch, and a half an inch is 17. So do you want it all out of this fabric? Yeah, it's the lingerie, what do they call that, French seam. Yes.
Yes, okay.
So right side, so do it that way, and then that way you don't have to overlock it. When you wash it, it won't fray, you'll have a nice seam.
We created the space and pretty much, the beginning of it in a day. We painted, we put, we looked through the donations, we found some cabinets for the fabric, we found the tables, and we set up maybe 6 machines. And there's the beginning of sewing space. And we started coming over on Tuesdays, bringing the women at first. Now we have women and men from 10 to 3. And it was very informal. And we just started creating, make a pillow, easy. What can you sew in an hour? Get to know your machine. And we had all volunteer sewing instructors. And it's about sewing, but it's also a nurturing space. It's a space where we teach a skill. Now we teach a skill, and we teach entrepreneurship, and we try to make things that we can sell to raise money, and that our sewers can raise money, supplement their incomes. We have a lot of folks that are on welfare, a lot of people living under the poverty line. So if you can learn how to sew something, in a half an hour you can make a wine bag, or we do these stuffed owls that sell for 15. We split that. 60% goes to the artist, and 40% goes back into keeping the program funded. It's pretty empowering, It's empowering first that you can sew something like a pillow, and something that you can go buy, but when you're on welfare, you can't afford to buy pillows.
It's just absolutely amazing how much comes in and what comes out of what they use the material for. I sort, I take out staples, and I use a seam ripper. And I did come up with an idea. They were looking for some kind of bib for someone, and I says, well, you could do this and put some weights on it. So they came up with the adult protection bib. They're up on the
So we
wall.
got a little bit of money to hire our first sewer, 1 day a week. Going from an empty warehouse, now we got a little bit of money to hire one sewer at $15 an hour. That $15 an hour, 1 day a week, is more than welfare all month. She can sew to sell at the 60-40 cut. So we're working on raising funds to hire her more days a week. Today, this sewing machine here was donated, and it's a brother. It's like $1,000 sewing machine was donated. That's how we've managed to exist. There's a lot of waste in this world, so we've collecting all the donations, and from the clothes to the belts to make purse straps, and putting that stuff. You have it to good use.
Are you kidding me? And you calling yourself old? What are you doing for your birthday?
You have to do something.
Look at what I'm doing for my birthday. I'm so.
You're making yourself
I didn't do
something.
anything.
Shoot.
And how old's your daughter?
And every time I think about their age, I even get older. My oldest is 13.
Oh, you have more than one?
Yep, my youngest is 11, going to be 12.
From here to here,
Okay.
all right? And then just stitch around like a 1/2 inch seam allowance, because that's what you added, right?
Right. I haven't did this in so long since the last time I was up here. I love it though.
So we had a couple of questions. Yep. Have a second?
I don't know what, but I can't get this string into the dang hole. Don't act up on me.
And right there. And then go back stitch like that. And then when you come back here, just lift the foot up, turn it, you know.
Okay.
And then start from here. That's what I always do.
How's it working? Good?
I did too small, didn't I?
Well, we'll see if we can get it in there. So take your pins out, clip your corners, turn it, and then we'll put the pillow in and I'll show you how to use it. No, same. The owls.
Here, this point will come out a little more.
Okay.
And then if it's fabric here, it'll be like that. It'll be bulky. Feel the difference. Feel the difference. This one's cut, that one's not.
Okay.
See, it's cool, isn't it?
Very cool.
Want to try this last one?
The space is here to teach that skill set. It's also here to give people a sense of self-worth. Some people aren't as interested in sewing to sell, but it's a home. It's comfortable, it's nurturing, and we all work together. We don't have clients that are the, sewing and the volunteers. It's people helping people.
It's a treat when you get a full skein, but very often we don't. We don't know how much we have, so it's hard to plan making an item using that. So we've designed a bunch of things for using little bits and melding textures and colors and amounts. Okay, what I wanted to show you was that we made a whole bunch of scarves using small pieces of yarn just tied together. Some triangular ones and went up. And this is a project that even the beginners can make out of small bits of yarn. One of the things that I feel kind of strongly about is that when my knitters make things to sell, it should be done in about 2 hours or less. If it's longer than that, that knitting time should be for themselves, or they should work out with the person they're selling to a good commission. I mean, Sewing Space does all these really fine, funky, artsy things, and we can do that with the little bits of yarn we have and the skills that we've got.
This is just a little swatch that I was doing. I want to make a sweater, and to get the right proportions, you have to have a gauge, like so.
No, these are.
I had to knit a little swatch so that we could measure it and then multiply it. And Susan is 1,000 times better at doing that than I am. I started knitting when I was 8, but I stopped. I didn't do it for a long, long time, and then I started up again, and you don't forget, even though it was, a long time. I do it both ways. I do a continental, and this is the American way. It's called throwing, because you throw the yarn around. So I do both ways, the picking and the throwing. But I also crochet.
I keep getting the same pains that I
My
got
mother
when
crocheted,
they
my grandmother
told me I was
crocheted.
having gallbladder attacks.
Nobody knitted, so I always felt like
I keep saying I'm having
knitting was the
gallbladder
official
and Alex says, how
way
can
to
you
do
have
things.
that
But then
when
I
your grandfather
realized
had
that crocheting.
gallbladder?
So is knitting meditative?
Oh, it is. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I get into it. I get into a zone and you just sit there. You can sit for hours and just do it. And then at one point it gets like my nerves are like racked. I have to stop. I get, you know what I mean? When you know you don't have that problem.
I
Okay,
am
excuse me.
making coasters. We're going to felt it. It's going to be a long piece that we felt and then cut apart to become coasters.
And so when you cut it into coasters, do the edges fray? Or
It all stays together. It's amazing. It's magic.
This is
It's so pretty.
it is really nice.
And look at this.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we start with the pillow, it's easy, and that's kind of like you get that, build the confidence. And then everything we sew gets a little harder, learn how to put a zipper in, how to put a buttonhole in. We teach how to upcycle and recycle, you know, we're consumers. So you don't have to buy it, you can create it.
I started coming through to Sewing Space through HomeFront. My family's temporarily living there, and I am in Work First, which one of Tuesdays and Fridays you get to come and learn a trade. And I picked Sewing Space. I started with a pillow, and we learned a little bit of alterations, and I've done an apron, a few different little beginner sewing jobs so far. And now I'm making some bags and wine bags and hopefully going to be selling them. A few weeks ago, my daughter came home and told me that she had forgotten to give me the paper, but tomorrow she had to dress up as a superhero or villain. And we don't have all of our costumes and everything with us right now, so we didn't have anything handy. And I was able to whip her up her favorite villain, which was Catwoman.
Well, I started crocheting when I was 9 years old. My mom learned at the same time. I had great aunts. You know, my aunts, they were teaching me. And I've just always been a creative person. I guess it's in my blood, you know. My mom, she does everything from baking to working with power tools, and she knows how to crochet and sew and everything. So it's just, you know, always been in me. I've always liked dolls. I've always been, even as a child, when I stopped playing with them, I would collect them. I don't know really what got me into making them. I think I saw them online. I didn't know you can crochet that kind of stuff. I just fell in love with them. I said, I could do that. And so I started, because I already could draw. And so I would just sketch out dolls and stuff like that. I said, I think I could make this. I said I've sold a couple of dolls and stuff to family and friends. And then in 2011, I decided to just go for it, start my business, get my license and everything, and get business cards and everything. Wonder if she's gonna stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away. And I know, hell, I leave the young thing alone, but ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away.